Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Mireille Serra. I'm program manager at the Most Business Intelligence. And thank you all for joining us today for the SelectUSA webinar and dedicated to the expanding to the US market. And first of all, I would like to give floor to Andrew Glass, commercial chief at the US Michelin Kazakhstan, for welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much, Murray, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining. As Murray mentioned, my name is Andrew Glass. I'm the commercial chief here at the U.S. Consulate in Almaty, and I'm so fortunate to be with you here today where we have some expert speakers, really great resources to talk about exciting opportunities for Kazakh startups and companies to invest and expand in the United States, the premier investment destination in the world. So as Murray mentioned, we work together here in Almaty with our wonderful partners at Most Business Intelligence. We're really honored to partner with them to open this webinar. The United States, with a robust economy, dynamic innovation ecosystem, and world-class talent pool, presents a compelling landscape for ambitious companies just like yours who are joining this evening. As you know, the US boasts a massive consumer base with high purchasing power and offering unparalleled opportunities for market penetration and growth. The US is also a global hub for innovation, with leading institutions, incubators, and venture capital funding readily available to support your company's growth. The US is also home to a diverse and skilled workforce, providing access to top-tier talent in various fields, from technology and engineering to business and finance, as well as robust legal frameworks for protecting intellectual property rights, ensuring that the amazing innovations and the inventions that you come up with as enterprising startups are safeguarded legally. We will have a designated presentation on the SelectUSA Summit and SelectUSA Tech this evening. So for those unfamiliar with SelectUSA, the summit is the premier event for foreign direct investment into the United States. And we are so happy that from May 11th to the 14th this year, the SelectUSA Investment Summit will be taking place once again in National Harbor, Maryland. And my excellent colleague, Alia Shaikina, who works in our office, will be leading a delegation to SelectUSA. So in 2024, we had the first delegation of Kazakh startups successfully participate in the summit. And from speaking with many of them, I know it was a very successful experience. This was valuable networking opportunities, insights, and opportunities to connect with decision makers in the United States that can help you expand your company. We would also like to invite startups that join us this evening to register for our Kazakhstan pitch competition. This will take place in 1 month on February 21st at Most IT Hub. We have assembled a distinguished panel of experts for this event who will share insights and experiences on navigating the US market, as well as provide an overview of US government resources available to support you, as well as the SelectUSA program and the summit. And I encourage you to actively participate and ask questions during today's webinar. And I'd like to just give a very, very special thanks to our expert speakers today, Francis and Stephanie, for their insights. They're going to give you a lot of valuable information today. So please do pay attention and ask them those direct, important questions. So once more, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your interest in expanding your business to the United States. I hope this will be a very productive and insightful session for everyone who has joined this evening. And with that, I would like to turn the discussion over to Elmira Obri, CEO of Most Business Intelligence, who once again is our wonderful, wonderful partner here in Kazakhstan, along with Murray. So over to Elmira. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hello to everyone. I'm so glad for you to be here because this is a great opportunity. Thank you once again to our partners. I'm so excited and grateful for our long-term relationship, and I expect this year our delegation will expand. So I will not take much time because we have a great speakers. So I'm giving the floor and space to them. So I'm just encouraging you to take notes, to ask questions. None of the questions are silly, so ask. It's really important to us to hear feedback, to organize a really grateful and useful Q&A sessions. And we are here to support you. We believe in talent, and we invest in talents. And SelectUSA one of the greatest opportunities. So take it, make it, and grow.
Thank you very much, Almira. And now I'm glad to give floor to Francis Simovitz, our invited guest speaker, who will be presenting on the topic of expanding to the US market and 8 keys to unlocking success in the world's largest market.
Thank you so much, Mireille. All right, I will share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, that's great.
Amazing. Hello, everyone. So my name is Francis. I am the co-founder and president of QUAY Acceleration, recently rebranded from QUAY Acceleration. I am excited to be here today to share with you some of the best practices for US market entry. I had the pleasure of going to Almaty last summer and meeting with some of the entrepreneurship ecosystem, speaking at New Vision Forum. So very excited to see a delegation coming from Kazakhstan again to SelectUSA. So to dive in just a little bit about us before I dive into some of the best practices, we build startup accelerators in partnership with universities, governments, other ecosystem stakeholders. We also have our own flagship program where any company from around the world can participate, but it's entirely, those programs are entirely dedicated to helping international startups and scale-ups with US market entry. We have over 600 alumni companies from more than 40 nationalities around the world. We've worked with more than 25 government partners, have over 150 corporates in our network. And our portfolio combined has raised now around 900 million post programs over the last 6 years. Some of our alumni, we love them. But diving in, so first we'll kind of give some context to the market. It's a large market. Lots of people want to come here. Why the US? So GDP growth averaged 27.36 trillion in 2023. VC investment value, even though it was down from 2022, was 170.6 billion. And there's over 6,200 tech co-working spaces in the United States. So there's a lot of entrepreneurial and business activity. I'm based in New York, where there's 21.65 billion in VC investment. It's the #2 largest ecosystem in the world. US has #1 and #2. And we also have the largest presence of Fortune 500 companies. So especially if you're looking to sell B2B, New York is a great place, but US is large, right? So there's a lot of different places that companies choose to go post expanding to the US, and figuring that out is important, and we'll dive into that. Okay, so the 8 best practices for your US go-to-market. So first and foremost, it's a new market, it's a new playbook. So what works at home in terms of your marketing strategy, your sales, how you went to market, may not work in the US. A lot of times I see that founders, for example, when they're even have built very mature businesses, they're known in their market. So they're able to get a lot of referrals. So even doing things like setting up a robust and repetitive sales process is a new thing that they need to do. You also need to research, right? As I mentioned before, the United States is massive. There's 50 states, and there's different strengths to each area that may be best for your industry and your business. I always tell companies to go where your customers are. Going to New York or Silicon Valley, those sound like oftentimes the best places to go. But we had companies from India that were selling into oil and gas that have moved to Texas, or companies in biopharmaceutical that have ended up in Boston, or climate tech companies that have gone to solve challenges in Miami and have pilots there. So think about where your location is and where your customer is. You may be dealing with tier 1 banks, or you should be dealing with tier 2 banks. Then run tests and adapt the value proposition. So what resonates with your customers in your home market may not apply to the US market. And then the other challenge I see is around narrowing your focus. Pick one thing to be great at. A lot of times in smaller markets, founders will, in order to increase their revenue, increase their offerings, right? You'll have multiple offerings that you can have to multiple different companies. Where in the US, you want to pick one that you think is going to be the best and start there as your beachhead. If you're everything to everyone, it actually makes it a lot harder for you to penetrate the market and go fast. It's so large that with one offering, you can end up getting a pretty sizable market size. So really think about, what are my hypotheses on the things that I do today, and what can I test? Build in your home market first. So a lot of times founders will come to me and be like, I just think my home market doesn't get it. The corporations are too conservative or whatever it is. But develop your use cases in your home market first. Validate that. It will give investors and potential customers in the US a lot more confidence that you are able to take the market seriously and commercialize. It's also an expensive market, right? So it's not the best market to test in. VCs want to see traction abroad in the US before investing. So getting that traction first is really important. It feels chicken and egg. Everyone's always like, well, if I get a check, I'm happy to go. But really showing that you're able to get customer validation is key. Identify which use cases might be best for the US and test it out. We had a company recently that could sell to both manufacturers and airlines. Like, we're coming from Singapore. They had a digital twin technology. First, our hypothesis, or their hypothesis, was that airlines or airports would be the best go-to-market strategy. And so we tested that. And then when that wasn't moving as quickly as they thought it would in terms of the sales cycle, now they're targeting manufacturing as sort of the next step from their use cases at home. And then test your hypothesis in lean ways. You do not need to immediately move to the US and set up an office. That can be step number 2. First, do your research, reach out to potential customers, ask for feedback on your solution, see if you can get a first pilot or a customer from abroad. Post-pandemic, people are very much more accustomed to doing Zoom things like this. And so you can get those meetings where you couldn't otherwise. Or take advantages of trips like SelectUSA, where you can meet with people in person, test out, get that feedback before making the decision to, I'm going to go full force, hire, set up an office. Having a global vision from day one. We had a company from India as well that was in the logistics space. They've now raised over 80 million in the United States. They were at 4 million when they came to me. But from the very day one of the program, they were already incorporated in the US, and that was from day one of the company. So they built the company in India, but incorporated in the US because they knew from day one it was going to be a US company, which really helped them to close deals much faster. So they're working now with like big companies like Pepsi, et cetera. But they knew that it was going to be the US. And so they dreamed big, but they took little steps like incorporating. Having English content is important and adapted, not translated, because sometimes, as much as GPT is getting better, it's not perfect. So having someone who's American adapt the language and look out for certain words, et cetera. Research and plan for any regulations or legal needs, depending upon your industry, and know what those are. And know your competitors in the US as well. So when you're doing a market analysis, who's competing, how are you going to differentiate yourself becomes really, really important. You know, what are the different ways they're positioning themselves so that you can really compete in that market. Having competitors isn't a bad thing. Find and manage the talent for your team. So the founder, you as the founder, are the best person to lead the sales and the vision in the beginning. No one can sell the company better than you can. You know, if you need to have someone that's also senior or is working alongside you that speaks in English, totally fine. But really, you know, you don't need to go hire a big expensive salesperson to start that has all of the right accolades. They aren't necessarily going to be the best person for you. Salespeople in the US are always very good at selling themselves. They're not always great at selling your business. So you want to take the time to really get to know the market, get feedback from the customer, and build trust as you as the founder. And then hire once you know about the go-to-market strategy. So a lot of times I see founders hire like a GM or an expensive salesperson thinking that they're going to figure it out for them. But really what ends up being the best strategy is to develop the sales playbook, to know what the customer segment is, and then pass that off to a more senior person who can then run the office. But you're the one that's going to be developing the playbook and the strategy. And then evaluate, as I said, your US hires differently, incentivizing them, and then also have an American or someone that you trust also interview them. Because again, they sometimes, we are very confident culture. And I've seen a lot of companies get tricked by the confidence that Americans have into hiring someone that might not actually be the best fit for their company or really have done or can do all the things that they say that they can do. Learning the business culture. So this is a big one. And I think even doing a little deep dive, if you're coming to SelectUSA before you come on some of the US business culture, it's going to really make a lot of your meetings more impactful. So knowing the cultural nuances can make a huge difference in your success. So, this has to do with like time flexibility and different communication preferences. The US is very direct and to the point. So when you're speaking to an investor, can you be concise? Can you talk about the value that you're providing? We don't necessarily need to know all the details of everything about your product or solution. So knowing some of those nuances can really help. Get advice from founders who have made similar leaps into the market. There's a lot you can learn from the challenges that others have had so that you can avoid those mistakes. You may make others, that's just the journey, but it can be a really great resource. US is a very fast-paced but welcoming business culture, so long as it's approached with the right mindset. So like time is really important. I always say to respect New Yorkers' time. It's the best way to show them that you care about them. Things happen in a much faster pace and on time. And then being direct and concise wins every time. Like, how can you say what you need to say in as little words as possible that gets the point across? And don't be afraid to brag. Learn to sell yourself. So this is, I tell everyone all the time that every other culture in the world combined is more humble than American culture sometimes. And so founders, depending upon the culture they come from, can feel really insecure in bragging about themselves. Like we worked with a number of Mexican founders, and some of them were very successful. They had like a business that was the second largest media brand in LATAM. They had videos with billions of views. They already had 400 employees. And on the first pitch night, you would have thought that they were a two-person media agency trying to scrape together some content. When in reality, they were quite a significant company. But in Mexico, it would have been very inappropriate to talk about those successes, where in the US, I talk about establishing credibility. It is okay to talk about the things that you do exceptionally well, or the clients that you have, or the revenue growth that you've had, or the team growth that you've had. You want to establish that you're a serious company. Don't feel like you're bragging, but be confident in how you talk about yourself. Also, be direct with asks for help. We are not a very nuanced culture. We're very direct. There's not a lot of reading in between the lines. So it's always a practice with our founders to get them to have a super clear ask. Who are you looking to meet with, right? Like if you're selling into security officers at large banks, say that, right? Be really specific with what you need. And people are usually happy to help. If they know someone that could be useful, they're happy to do it. But you have to help us help you. And then adapt your presentation and materials in the US style of communication. So again, not just translated, but really within the context. So have an American read over your deck or your materials to make sure that you're not using British English or, words or phrases that wouldn't commonly be used in the US. And then build a community. You aren't alone. So US professionals are a very task-based culture versus a relationship-based culture, meaning that, we make decisions based on the convenience of working together and on the quality of work. So people are really happy to help good projects and good founders, and founders that have an open mindset for feedback. So people really do want to help when you're coming to America. Seek strong connections and mentors. So find people that you may already know in the US or people that are in your industry that could support you. Know that building relationships takes time. So a lot of times, depending upon the culture that we're working with, they come to the US and they want to see immediate results, right? Then everybody wants that, really, regardless. But these relationships take time to nurture, right? You meet somebody and a deal might not come to fruition for 9 months to a year. Or there might be a referral down the road, et cetera. But really invest in the relationships over time and they will return. Also think about how you can give value to those relationships, right? Are there other people you know that can be useful? Providing value to others is a really great way to create a bit more stickiness in a relationship that will help them activate to support you in the future. And save time by working with the right partners. So, working with an organization like MOST or SelectUSA or an accelerator, there's thousands of them across the United States, can be a great way to get into the right networks that can help you find the right support that you need to be successful. And that's it. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions now or also at the end if anyone has any.
Thank you very much, Francis. So yeah, I guess we can have a little Q&A session now to make the discussion more progressive. So guys, if you have questions, you can write in chat or raise your hand. And yeah, we can have also Q&A later. And now
I would suggest to jump straight forward to our next speaker, and then we'll just secure several spots for the Q&A session.
Yeah, now I'm glad to give floor to Stefani Rotmans, our esteemed partner from SelectUSA. So Stefani, the floor is yours.
I was just figuring out how to unmute myself and share my screen. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, we see it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mary and Elmira, for having me today. I'm so thrilled to speak with the group and so excited to partner with you guys again to support Kazakhstan, startups from Kazakhstan. Francis, your advice and guidance was invaluable. And I was just shaking my head like, yes, 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 exactly. It's all the feedback we hear from partners. This is such important information for businesses looking to expand to the United States. For those of you who I don't know, I'm Stefani Rotmans. I am with SelectUSA headquarters. I am our portfolio manager for Kazakhstan as well as Eurasia. So I work very closely with Andrew and Aaliyah to support international businesses looking to expand to the US. SelectUSA is a part of the US Department of Commerce. We are the agency that supports specifically international companies opening their business operations in the United States. What's exciting about SelectUSA is that we're geographically neutral. So we want to work with international businesses such as yourself to help you find the right location. We are not here to sell you on one state, one location over another. We want to help provide you with data, insights, connections, so that you can really understand where is the best location, who can offer you the best access to the right workforce, talent, cost of living, cost of whatever it is that you're looking for, and those criteria that are important for your business. I wanted to share, and I think Francis had kind of indicated and touched on how the US has a lot of areas of opportunity for expanding to the US. There's a lot of really great startup ecosystems. Here I've included some data from Startup Link, which indicates some of the top global startup ecosystems that are based in the United States. So out of the 20 top global ecosystems from around the world, 7 of those ecosystems are based in the United States. And that's based on data on how effective these startup ecosystems are, how many accelerators, incubators, VCs there are, and how impactful those startup ecosystems and environments are. And here you can see the data presented in a slightly different way. This is where these global ecosystems rank on that global level, as well as where they rank on a national level. So of course you see San Francisco, New York as number 1 and 2 on both the global and national ranking. And then you see some kind of expected players from Los Angeles, Boston, Seattle, etc. What's really interesting is that this is kind of broad general startup ecosystems, but depending on the sector or industry, you might see variation and change based on the particular clusters, ecosystems, and environments. And what's really important to notice is that while these are the top ecosystems, there are a lot of emerging important startup ecosystems across the United States. And a lot of some of these emerging ecosystems might be able to offer you things like incentives, opportunities. They might be able to offer free co-working spaces. They might be able to offer close connections and partnerships with R&D facilities or research institutions because they're looking to draw and attract particular industries or ecosystems to their environments. So it's a good thing to keep in mind when you're looking to find the right location and be open-minded. The San Franciscos and New Yorks, they are fantastic startup ecosystems, without a doubt. I'm also based in New York. It is absolutely a fantastic ecosystem, but sometimes for costs or other reasons, there might be other ecosystems to consider and take a look at. So it's always important to have conversations and do your research to really find out where are your customers, where's the best place for you to be based. I'm really excited to share more about SelectUSA. We are a year-round organization. We are here as a resource to help you with counseling, to provide you with information, and help provide you with connections throughout the year. Leah, of course, is based in Almaty along with Andrew, and I'm based in our headquarters. So we're always happy to have counseling conversations to learn more about your business, to learn about your investment project, and discuss how we can help you. We can do that through a few different ways. We have resources and tools like our SelectUSA Investor Guide. And this is a fantastic initial resource that touches on all the main points that are going to be important when you do decide to expand to the United States. It provides a great overview and checklist of things to consider, and then it goes into in-depth on chapters, topics such as taxes and breaking down what does it mean to have federal, state, and local taxes. There's chapters on intellectual property. Banking is always very challenging for international businesses. So this is a really great initial resource for you to do your homework and get an understanding of what those expectations and what those challenges might look like and tackle them before. We also have a lot of research and materials available for companies on our website. We have a library of fact sheets and reports. We have one-pagers on every US state and territory, so you can get a sense of an overall breakdown of what those states look like, what are some of the industry overviews. And we also have these fact sheets for a range of different industries as well, so you can get an overall understanding of where is there a cluster in a particular industry or sector, and just have a little bit of a kind of deep dive. We also, for international companies who are very serious about their investment, we can offer customized research and locations reports. And I forgot to mention at the start of the presentation, all of our services are free. We don't charge companies to network with us, to work with us, to have counseling sessions with us. We're a free resource. We really just want to help provide you with the guidance and support to expand your business. And as I was mentioning, our research and locations report, again, there is no cost to work with us on these. These reports can help you understand where's there a cluster of a particular industry. It can help break down costs, whether it's the cost of taxes. It can help break down the cost of labor if you're looking at hiring a different kinds of workforce. And each of them is tailored and customized for each individual company. In addition, we are here as a connector. We work very closely with economic development organizations, and what that means are US states and territories. The economic development organizations, or EDOs for short, have really great strategies and opportunities within them. So a lot of these states will be looking to attract innovation, will be looking to attract startups to their environment to build and grow their environment. So the states might have incentives, like I had mentioned earlier. They might have access to accelerators, VCs, incubators, pitch competitions, funding sources, and they know their environment, they know their ecosystem, they know the community. And so they can be a really fantastic resource when you're looking to identify and compare different startup ecosystems. So we're here to help connect you to any of the US states and territories. We're also here as a resource If you are facing issues or challenges with federal regulations, we can help try to answer questions or get guidance from a number of different federal agencies through our interagency program. As you're looking to expand to the US, of course, companies are always looking for connections. So we have available our service provider directory, and this provides a great opportunity to identify and find whether you're looking for tax professionals, attorneys, consultants, communications, resources, whatever it might be. And all of these contacts are thoroughly vetted and have participated in our program before. So it's a great place to find good quality service providers and contacts if you don't have referrals or connections already through trusted advisors or peers. On the top left, you'll also see a resource that I think is very interesting for many companies. It's the State Business Incentive Database. Again, a free resource that you can access. This is, I would say, non-comprehensive, but a great initial starting point for researching and finding different incentives that could exist when you're looking to expand to the US. I also wanted to touch on the SelectUSA Investment Summit. As I had mentioned, SelectUSA is a resource year-round, but we do have an annual conference, the Investment Summit, May 11th to 14th, that brings everything we do throughout the year into one place. It's where we have every US state and territory present so that you can meet with and have conversations with everyone in one venue. We have a special program for technology startups. We have a lot of educational programming and seminars. It's kind of a pure immersion into networking within the startup ecosystem, whether it's learning about major topics on business structures in Texas or sessions that are more specific for technology startups. And just a quick overview of what the event in 2024 looked like. We had over 5,000 attendees, over 2,500 of those were specifically from international markets. We had over 700 SelectUSA Tech participants from over 70 different countries. And this is where we had our largest ever delegation from Kazakhstan participate as well. Just a little bit more of an overview of what exactly is a SelectUSA Investment Summit. We have different sessions from very high level from US government, governors, cabinet members, officials, all the way to industry spotlights. So you can get an in-depth overview and do some networking within some of these industries, food and beverage, energy, critical minerals, biotechnology, health tech. There's breakout sessions on some of those investor guide sessions, the incentives, choosing the right business structure. And then we have an exhibition hall where you'll have the opportunity to meet with the US states and territories. You can meet with service providers, and then we have a SelectUSA Tech kind of pavilion area where you can do a lot of networking. Our SelectUSA Tech program specifically is designed for startups who fit at least one of the three criteria. So you have to be at least 10 years old or younger. You have to have 0 to 40 employees or 10 million in revenue or less. So you just need to fit one of those criteria to be a fit for the SelectUSA Tech program. And within the program, you have the opportunity to pitch to a dedicated audience of what we call SelectUSA Tech partners. So those can be investors, VCs, accelerators, incubators, successful tech entrepreneurs. We'll have the SelectUSA Tech Lounge. We'll have educational seminars. You can see some of the topics here. What is the difference between venture capital, angel investing, and strategic capital? We have great workshops and seminars on pitching fundamentals. And then we'll have, again, a lot of really great networking opportunities. I know I'm close to time, but I really quickly wanted to mention as well our Select Global Women in Tech Mentorship Program. So this is a year-long program that launches alongside the Investment Summit, where female founders will have the opportunity to match with a US-based mentor to help tackle the challenges or questions they might have as you're looking to expand to the United States. There's no additional fee to participate in this program. It's really just an additional resource and value add for female founders participating. I've included kind of an example schedule and some different topics that someone participating in the Investment Summit might engage in, and we can send this after the event for you to take a closer look at. And we also have industry-specific, we call them spin-off events that happen either just before or just after the Investment Summit. So you can get a deep dive into a particular industry and build your local kind of connections and community within these states. So we can send this to the group afterward. But if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact myself and Aaliyah. We really hope to welcome many of you to the SelectUSA Investment Summit as part of our delegation from Kazakhstan. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much,
very much.
Stephanie. Well, guys, there is a great chance to ask a question directly to our experts. Stephanie and Francis provided very useful information, which you can amplify and use for your own interest for their business growth and expansion opportunities and networking building. It's a really huge event. For you to understand, it's just up to level of the senators and mayors of the cities, and you can literally shake their hands and sit around the same table, talking, pitching. They will be actually pitching on the stage for you, attracting talents to different states of America, and this is a great chance again, just to spot who you are. And there is a window to ask questions. So please raise your hands or write your question in our chat, and we are ready to receive the first question. Who's ready? Any case, we'll share the information for those who registered after all, and probably we'll do the offline session as well for those who didn't make it today for some reason. And we have first question from Rowan. Please turn your microphone and camera if you can, and your own.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Firstly, thank you, Stephanie and Francis, for your great presentations. It was very insightful. So let me dive into my question. We are an edtech startup, and we are planning to expand to the US market in the future. So as far as I know, there are educational organizations such as Han Academy that receive funding through various foundations and grants. Could you please advise on how and where we could find networking opportunities or contacts for partnerships?
Sure, I'm happy to take it first, Stephanie. So EdTech is a pretty significant industry in the US. There's a lot of investment. A lot of the investment, I would say, is probably located more in the Northeast, so probably like New York and Boston region, specifically into EdTech. So those are good areas to find networks. Like we have in our network, someone named Ash. He runs EdTech Week in New York City. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. So there are some really great networks to take a look at specifically within EdTech. It's a company called StartEd that runs it. And so he's wonderful. They have run an accelerator, et cetera. So there's definitely some good networks for EdTech in the US. And I'm sure you'd also find some of that at SelectUSA. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I have another question. So we are curious about the process of applying for educational grants in the US. Maybe you know something. Are there any specific platforms, networks, or events where edtech startups can connect with grant providers?
There's lots of different types of grants in the US, and finding them is sometimes a challenge. But I don't know, Stephanie, do you have any concrete sources for EdTech specific grants?
Not off the top of my head. We could always talk to our research team and see if there's any sort of directories or things that we can help refer to. But it's not something that I've seen just off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And the last question, Francis, for you.
Okay.
Is there any best practices or tips for positioning product to attract the attention of such organizations?
Yeah, so
like foundations?
I would need to know more about your product specifically, right? Because it depends a lot on who your target customer is, right? Like, are you going after universities? Is it a direct to consumer product, right?
It's a K-12.
It's a K-12.
K-12,
Okay.
yeah, adaptive learning platform.
Great. So I would recommend that you spend time really understanding the challenges of K-12 schools in the US. They are long sales cycles. They're hard to sell into in the United States. Like, we've worked with a couple of companies that are selling into K-12. Like, we just had a company in our flagship program that was from Portugal that was selling, basically, it's like a dance platform that teaches coding in schools to K-12. And so really understanding their process and what do the teachers need? How do they go through budgeting cycles? How do they make these decisions? Because it is yearly cyclical. Like, I would first get a really deep understanding of that. And that will inform you on how to position yourself to ease the challenges and to be exciting enough and much enough of a need for them to be able to then sell to those schools. And sometimes it also could be private schools. Private schools might be able to adopt your technology quicker than a public school. So there's so many different avenues. So I can't give too much advice without knowing more about the product, but that would be where I would start.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rowan, for questions. And as a round-up, I'd like to share some information on our global scale-up programs at MOST. And we are actually organizing a group tour to the SelectUSA Summit. And we have a mission to help Central Asian startups to grow. And that's why we organize this kind of scale-up acceleration programs. And our vision is like global to local, local to global expansion. And our participants include startups and investors and entrepreneurs and even like big corporations. So if you are representing one, please contact me. And this is information on our Scale Up program numbers. In previous years, we've organized 5 successful business missions all around the world. And this year, we actually are going to have a business mission to Japan first in March. And of course, later in May, we are planning a big tour to the SelectUSA Investment Summit. So I hope you can join us there. So last year it was a huge success, and all of the startups who participated gained so much from this experience because the program is really extensive and a lot of networking and business opportunities. So yeah, this year it will be in May. So please contact me if you are willing to join us. And this is just general information that we provide companies with comprehensive logistics and support and organize the whole participation. And we also plan to have strategic session and guidance from experts before and after the summit. And these are results from previous years, previous tours. And thank you to all our partners. And we have a good coverage from the media. And here are my contacts. And here we have the website for our Scale Up tour. Please register there. And we will also have a pitch competition again on February 21st in Almaty. And all information can be found on this website. So hope you can join us and participate in this year's summit. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please raise your hands. And if not, I guess we can stop the recording here. And thank you all for joining tonight. And
thank you everyone for joining us. Any case, so we'll be here in office for you. Questions, just text me today if you have some uncovered topics. So to be happy to answer your questions and provide more information. Any case, in between of this webinar and Impeach competition, which is another very important event, especially for the startups who might win the waiver for the participation to the SelectUSA. So we would be happy to organize the workshops in person in Almaty. We'll be announcing shortly when and where would it be. Please share the information with those who you think would be interested in this, and for those for whom this information would be valuable as for you. So please contact us, and thank you for joining.